Hey, you guys, welcome to the Vets to CEOs channel. I'm here with a special guest of mine. This is Luis. He's a fellow military veteran, served in the Army, and today I'm going to share his story on how he separated from the military to pursue his passion in e-commerce and how he's thriving in e-com today. And we're in his new, beautiful warehouse with his 3PL business. Congratulations too, by the way, brother. And today he's going to share his story, how he, separated from the military to pursue his dream to become his own boss, and he's now living that life of financial freedom. With that being said, Luis, bro, thank you for being on our podcast. If you could share with us what it was like for you transitioning out into e-commerce and, how you became your own boss.
Yeah, I think I really realized that I didn't love the military like second day into boot camp.
You're like, fuck.
So I was like, what did I sign up for, man? So, because before the military, I was a bartender, which, you're still an employee, but you kind of run your own business and people don't realize that because you're bringing in your own clients. You don't have somebody hovering over your shoulder telling you what to do. You really just kind of run your own thing, run your own business within somebody else's business.
Yeah.
So I was
entrepreneur.
Yeah, kind of like, yeah, exactly. So I was doing that before the military, and I ended up joining the military because I wanted to fly. Like, I'm a pilot now. I was trying to fly for the military. That didn't work out, but
What'd you end up doing in the military?
I was a satellite communications guy.
Okay.
So I was SATCOM. But yeah, second day in, I realized I didn't like being told what to do. I didn't like being told what to do, how to act, what to wear, all of it. And I was like, what did I sign up for? So right after basic, obviously I had no phone or anything while I was in basic training. So once I got done with basic and I was at AIT, which is my tech school, Air Force Tech School, AIT for Army, I started literally just Googling how to make money online. I was like, how do I make money online? And I came across drop shipping.
Okay.
And I remember...
What is drop shipping for folks that don't know what that is?
Drop shipping essentially is just being the middleman when selling a product. So I'll take a product from Walmart, sell it on Amazon, and then I'll just send it directly from Walmart to Amazon, and I'll collect the difference. Okay. So, but I remembered that when I sell drop shipping, I remembered that I used to sell cars in Sacramento. When I was selling cars, this guy came in and he was buying a 4 Series. It was like 2017, like brand new, and he was buying cash.
He's military too.
He's military too.
He got hit.
He's actually an Air Force guy,
Okay.
and he's in the e-com space as well. He's in the reserves though. He's not active. And he came in and he's buying this car. He's doing well. And I was like, what do you do for a living? And he said, I sell Home Depot tools online. Okay. And I was like, what does that mean? And then he mentioned the word drop shipping. And that was 3 years from when I came across it online, or 2 years. Okay. So I remember I still followed him on Instagram. I reached out to him and I was like, hey, like, I'm in the military now. Like, I don't know if you remember me. I sold you a car, blah, 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 blah. Long story short was he happened to be having a coaching session that month.
Oh, really? Wow.
And that was his very first class he ever taught, because he's always done e-commerce for himself. He never had coached. So I was in his very first coaching class and I paid him $500, which at that time was a lot. I was broke. I was I was like a E4. I did come in with a bachelor's degree, so I came in as an E4.
Gotcha.
But regardless, $500 was a good amount. So I was like, okay, fuck it. Let's see what happens.
That's our drinking money.
Yeah, exactly. So I do this whole month of coaching with him. It was going well. I mean, as soon as I got my first sale, when you get your very first sale online, you'll never forget it. You'll never forget it. You'll be like, and I didn't make much. I sold something for like $100 and I ended up making like a few bucks on it. But I was just like, I will never forget it. It was a weed eater. It was a weed eater.
So it's Home Depot.
It was Home Depot. Yeah, he taught me his method.
Okay.
I started drop shipping Home Depot to Amazon, and I sold a weed eater. That was my very first sale. And I will always remember it. And then I was like, oh, this works. Yeah. So I just started doing it and I got like really good at it. I pretty much became his like top student or whatever you want to call it. It was like a class of 10, but the next month he ended up bringing me back on as a guest speaker because I like just took off. Like I put all my energy and effort into it and I just learned it. Let's see. So that's how I learned dropshipping and e-com, and that's while I was in the military. So that's before I was even done with training. I was doing this while I was in training for the Army.
In AIT.
In AIT.
Oh wow.
Because my AIT was 8 months.
Oh fuck.
So it was.
Where was that at?
It was Fort Gordon, Georgia. Okay. Yeah. So I did that. Pretty much once I was exiting AIT and going to my first unit, I was making all this money online now. I was averaging at least $3,000 to $7,000 a month net.
And how old were you at the time?
I joined pretty late. I was 24. Okay. I'm 27 now.
$3,000 to $7,000 net a month.
A month.
As an E4.
As an E4, and that's not including my military pay. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So I was like, oh shit, like I'm making more from the freaking e-com than the military is paying me. So I got to my unit and I was just like, I kept thinking to myself, I'm just going to do both until I get out. I already signed the 6 years. And then COVID, this was in the middle of COVID. Yeah. So my original contract, I was supposed to go Ranger. I was going to go RASP. I was going to try to be a HUA. I was going to try to be all in on this military thing. COVID can be. Yeah. COVID ruined a lot of things. Pretty much there was a big hold on like RASP classes and all that stuff. So I just said, fuck it, I'm not doing it. I signed another line and then pretty much removed me from the option 40, which is like going to RASP. And for RASP, I don't remember what it stands for. It's like Ranger Assessment Selection Program. Okay. Yeah. So ended up going to a pretty shitty unit. Like it was like
bad leadership.
Yeah, for the most part, it was just like ass. I still feel like it was adult daycare in a way. It was like I would just show up and they'd be like sweep or whatever. I'm like, dude, I can't do this. Like low key, I was like super depressed, and I was just like, and the way that I would get out of it is just like as soon as I get home, I'd work on the econ stuff. It was like 6 months into being in that unit, I was like, I can't do this. I was like, I need to find a way out. Like I need to get out. And I saw another guy get out, not in the best way. He got a hand tattoo because he wanted to get out.
When it was
So he got a hand tattoo and he got kicked out, and it was like it wasn't honorable. It was like other than I don't know what it was, but it wasn't honorable. But I was like, there has to be a way for me to get out early and like still keep my honorable discharge and everything. Yeah. So I went and talked to my leadership. I talked to my first sergeant and I told him, I was like, hey, look, like I showed him proof first of all that I was making money online, and he was just like, oh.
He's like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
Show me out.
But it was he just understood, and I was just like, I don't want to be here. Like I just am depressed, and he's like, he did kind of say, you know, a lot of people feel this way, but I mean, a lot of people don't really have other options. Yeah. Some people need the military. Like they can't go and do this. But he taught me how to get out. Or he didn't teach me. He told me what to do to get out. And this was only a year and 6-7 months into my contract of 6 years.
Wow.
So I'm not super proud to say this, but what he told me was essentially just gain weight. He's like, fail height and weight. The Army has height and weight standards. Mm-hmm. So essentially BMI. And I was always like pretty fit, but you know, I was always like semi-bigger guy. Like I don't have fastest metabolism. So it was pretty easy for me to gain the weight. Mm-hmm. But he told me gain weight and I will make sure to push your paperwork through. Like usually people who gain weight, like they kind of just get left and like then nobody really pushes the paperwork through. But he knew that I wanted to get out.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I started gaining weight. I failed my first height and weight like a month later, but I went from 190 pounds to about 225. Wow. So I gained 35, 40 pounds.
A lot of like tornadoes and stuff, bro.
So I remember getting home, and the day that I found out how to get out, I remember talking to my wife, and I was just like, my first sergeant told me how to get out, and this is what I have to do. I told her I gotta gain weight, and she's like, huh? And she was so confused. I was like, I have to get kicked out technically, and she's like, do you want to do that? Like I was like, yeah. He says it'll be honorable, like blah blah blah. Like I was like, okay, like I'm doing it. So the easiest way to gain weight was I was eating. It sounds so dumb, but I was eating so much pizza.
Really?
Because there was a Sam's Club like as I was leaving work. Okay. There was a Sam's Club.
Good ass pizza.
So I would just get a Sam's Club pizza every day, and I would just be shoving my face. And I remember looking at my wife like making a joke one day. I was like, "I'm doing this for us," just like eating so much. And then normally a height and weight to exit, it takes, from what I've heard other people, like when they're not trying to get kicked out, it takes up to a year. Okay. But because he knew that I wanted to get out, as soon as I failed my first one, it's you have to wait a month before you can take the next test. Yeah. So I failed 3 consecutive ones, like within 30 days exactly. I took the test, and as soon as those were done, he sent the paperwork up. And I remember just like it started, and I was like going through the exit classes and all that stuff, and telling people what I wanted to do, and people were just laughing, and I was like, oh my god, like I can't do this. Pretty much once you're exiting, they kind of try to almost convince you to stay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like they're like, what are you going to do on the civilian side? Like, you don't know what you're doing. Like, try to almost scare you to stay. But little did they know that I was getting kind of pushed out, technically.
You wanted out.
Yeah, I wanted out. But those classes it's like all ranks. They put you in a classroom together. So I was like getting out with a couple like freaking sergeant majors and like a bunch of other guys that were like high up. And then they go around in a circle and you kind of tell them like what you want to do when you exit. And like even like these like high ranking people in the Army, they're getting out and they don't know what they're going to do. Yep. And I was just like,
you have like 20 years in.
Damn, 20 years in. And that's all they know. 18. Yep. They joined at 18, getting out at 38 or whatever. And like one guy's like, oh, I'm going to go and be a truck driver. And like nothing against being a truck driver, but it's like, bro, 20, I can't do that. Like, so it was like, okay. And when they got to me, I remember telling them that I was what I was already doing. And then they were just like, okay, like entrepreneurship is very like high risk. Like they definitely, there's like 3 tracks you get
do
to
that gap analysis.
Yeah, exactly.
Net thing.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, whatever. Like I'm doing that. Like I'm already doing it. And they're like, okay. But I got out and yeah, dude, I moved to Vegas. I was in El Paso, moved to Vegas and ended up doing automation for drop shipping. We had about 200 clients at our peak, 200 VAs as well. We were doing pretty well. And then I guess the question was, how did I eventually get into 3PL and Amazon FBA? Was drop shipping kind of took a big hit on Amazon.
What's the difference between drop shipping and Amazon FBA so people can understand what that is?
So with drop shipping is what I said earlier, you're just reselling products without ever touching them. With FBA, you're essentially sending products into Amazon and Amazon is fulfilling them for you. So when you buy something that says Amazon Prime, 60% of the time it's actually coming from a third-party seller like me.
Yep.
So people always think they're buying it from Amazon, but Amazon's just fulfilling the order.
That's what I used to think until I got into
Yeah.
FBA as well.
So it's 60% of their sales are coming from third-party sellers, even if it is FBA. So instead of me shipping directly from the supplier to the customer now, I'm now shipping from the supplier to myself to Amazon. So there's a little bit more steps, and that's why it was a little bit more less barrier to entry. Like it's a little harder to get into versus drop shipping. You can start with like no money. With FBA, I would say you need at least $5,000 to $10,000 to start. If you don't want to open your own warehouse, just opening my own warehouse has been at least a $25,000 to $30,000.
This is for the 3PL side of
yeah.
Okay.
But some people that run their FBA stores, they run their own warehouse.
Oh, they actually have a warehouse. Why would they want to do that?
Because I mean, you just have more quality control. You know, like
to actually see the product. I see instead of sending it directly to Amazon or to a 3PL provider.
The biggest FBA sellers actually run their own warehouses. Okay. Like it's usually like the guys that kind of want to have the laptop lifestyle, which that's cool, but not for me. Like I like to have a place to come to work.
Gotcha.
But a lot of those FBA sellers that strictly rely on 3PLs, they usually can't scale too much because there's no quality control. Somebody else is in charge of your products. Like blah, blah, blah. So with this, I'm able to kind of see exactly what's coming in and what's going out. At least for my West Coast. I do plan to open up another warehouse on the East Coast once this is going. My goal is like 6 months from now, 6 months to a year. But yeah, I mean, and then what a 3PL is essentially is a third-party logistics company. So the reason that I got into FBA was because dropshipping got hit, so I can no longer dropship. It wasn't profitable anymore, so I knew I needed to adapt. So I started doing FBA, and I started setting up to do FBA. And while I was doing that, I realized that there was thousands and thousands of sellers that were dropshipping, and they're all moving to FBA, which means that there's going to be a huge demand for 3PLs.
Yep,
which is like huge because a lot of people don't want to go and get their own warehouse.
What did you say earlier about the gold rush?
Sell
the damn shovel, right?
So selling the shovel, right? So because when I was starting FBA, I was like looking at third-party logistics companies to use. They all kept saying the same thing. We're not taking any new clients right now. We're full.
Problem to have, right?
So I was like, oh shit, like there's a huge demand. And so I decided to, while I was already opening it, I was like initially doing it for my own store. And then the idea just popped in my head because I heard that quote. Somebody's like, sell the shovels. Like during the gold rush, sell the shovels. That's how you really get rich. I made a post and I wasn't even ready to take clients. I literally just made an Instagram post with me posing in front of the stuff. And I was like, hey, like, I just opened up this prep company, and right away I got so many DMs of people that are like, hey, once you're ready to go. I wasn't even ready to take clients.
Wow.
I just wanted to see the demand. So I posted that. I got a bunch of DMs. So I already have like clients that are like on my wait list because my goal right now is to get everything up and running by January 1st.
Okay.
It's end of November right now. So I got about a month, which we're pretty much ready at this point, but I'm looking to hire 1 or 2 more employees. Just like all my employees before have always been online. This is my first time really having in-person employees.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's a little different, but I mean, I'm not worried about it. It's just like recruiting right now is actually kind of hard because all of that money prints in. So people don't want to work. So I'm like, okay. So I actually had my sister quit her job. My sister's now working for me here at the warehouse, and she's never done e-com. So I'm teaching her from the ground up. She's definitely going to kind of be running my operations. And yeah, so now I'm going to be prepping for other FBA sellers and myself. That's the goal right now.
That's amazing. You got to add me to your customer list.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So for West Coast suppliers, like I'll be in Las Vegas. There's a few other prep companies out here, but the goal is to definitely expand. This is a smaller warehouse. We're like at 2,500 square feet.
Okay.
So probably looking to get around 10,000 square feet of space in the next 6 months to a year.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And what exactly does a 3PL company do? What is this exactly when you're sending supplies to that 3PL service and then they send it to Amazon? What is this?
Yeah. So Amazon requires certain products to be prepped certain ways. So most of the time, it's just a sticker on there that throws a barcode. But if you're selling like a 4-pack of like gum, you got to put the 4 pieces of gum in a bag and seal it, and then put your sticker on it, and then send it off to Amazon. So when customers don't have their own warehouses, a lot of suppliers don't ship to residential spaces. So you can't ship to your house if you're working with like wholesalers. So you need a warehouse to ship it to. That's where a third-party company comes in, like me or like a bunch of other ones. So you ship your products here. You give me access to your Amazon store. I prep the items like Amazon wants them prepped, and then I will ship them to Amazon for you.
Gotcha. And how long is that process from getting a product in?
Yeah.
Say a piece of gum or a pallet of gum to you shipping it to Amazon. What's the timeline?
So ideally under a week, but right now because we've just opened up, we're guaranteeing a 48-hour turnaround. But that'll probably change as we get more busy. But that's just kind of the hook right now to get people in, because speed is super important with FBA. Because like I'm having issues right now with a 3PL on the East Coast where I shipped my stuff in 6 weeks ago and it's still not done.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And then that's delaying.
that's delaying my income, but it's also delaying the probability that those items are profitable.
Yep.
Because the price can change in 6 weeks.
The buy box, all that.
So now I'm like, okay, that's super important. So I don't ever want to take, at least until we build it up, I don't want to take more clients than we can handle, which is what a lot of these other companies are doing because they're getting greedy. But I'd rather just have like less clients, but really be able to kind of turn around because then they're going to send me more products.
Gotcha. Yeah,
right.
That's true.
Because like I don't plan to do business with this company after this. You know, as soon as they're done with that, like, that's it. So I don't want to ever get to that point. I want to make sure that I can handle everything and at least have a week turnaround time at max.
Gotcha. Wow, that's amazing, bro. Yeah. It's nice to see like how you've pivoted and you're seeing where's the demand. Let me build the business around that too. While you're still doing your FBA and you have a team that's managing that as well. So that's essentially automated already, right? Your FBA side.
For the most part, my personal store is automated. A lot of our clients that were automation for drop shipping, they're kind of on a standby right now. We told them, hey, we don't want your guys' money to get lost because Amazon's just holding your money if they find out you're drop shipping. So we're getting all their accounts just kind of sitting right now, going to be opening new accounts, and then we're going to be doing FBA automation for them. So the warehouse is really is a separate business from the automation side though. Yep. So now we have two businesses and our businesses have a relationship.
Yeah. It sounds like you have three businesses. You have your FBA store. You have your essentially automation done for you service for your clients, and then you have your 3PL.
Yeah.
So it's all within the same industry, which is amazing.
Yeah. So my sister is going to be, I'm really kind of grooming her to take over the automation business because I really want to focus on just making sure that the 3PL is like efficient.
Gotcha.
Because trying to run all three is like kind of going to be impossible by yourself. You need to have a team. Yeah. So my sister's going to be handling all the automation stuff. My personal store, I do have VAs that have handled it. So I'm not too worried about my personal store. And to be honest, I don't want to prioritize my personal store because I think ultimately, like, if you take care of the clients, it's just going to kind of tenfold.
Full circle. Yeah.
So my store is more of, I've been treating it as a guinea pig because to be honest, like, I'm super new to FBA. Like, I have been always drop shipping, whether it was Amazon, eBay, Facebook, like, just drop shipping was always like the easy thing to do. And now it's just kind of becoming a little bit harder. It's not impossible. I know people who are still making a ton of money drop shipping, but I just wanted to essentially just pivot into something that I could ultimately sell also, because you can actually sell an FBA store if it's doing very well. You can't sell a drop shipping store. Nobody's going to pay you for a drop shipping store.
It's an actual business. It's more sustainable.
And it's like,
consistent,
it's reputable. Like, you have direct relationship with suppliers. Like, you're not just selling.
It's a real business.
It's a real business.
With drop shipping, you don't even know the suppliers.
Drop shipping is like what I think it becomes. It's almost like a, not get rich quick, but like just a money grab, like every month, like nothing you can ever sell. And it's not legitimate, to be honest, like especially on Amazon, because
that's why they banned it.
We are breaking rules, right? We're going against Amazon's terms and conditions. And if anybody out there is still selling you drop shipping automation, just don't buy it. Like, it's not, I wouldn't say it's a scam, but it's just super high risk. People are still doing it and they're making money, but it's just high risk because if your account does get shut down, they can hold your money for 6 months to a year. I know guys that have 100,000 tied up on Amazon.
Wow.
So it's like, it sucks.
That's crazy.
You know, and a lot of these guys are running their business off of credit cards.
Yep.
So now they're like on the hook for the money when they don't even have the money. So
it's another hack too, the credit, creative financing and stuff. So it's interesting that you said you wanted to get out of the military. Most people, they don't know if they want to. It's funny, we have almost a similar story. When I got into the military, I got into dropshipping because I was like, how do I make more money? You know, living paycheck to paycheck, just partying. I'm like, fuck, how do I pay for more alcohol for one? How do I pay for these trips? And then getting out, I was skeptical. I was like on the fence. And when I was about to get out, I was like, fuck, did I make the right decision? Yeah. But for you, it seems like you already had that income coming in from dropshipping, and you went all in on that. But you also mentioned that you went into real estate a little bit. Yeah, so if you could dive into that a little bit.
So that's actually funny. It was so I was able to do the e-com stuff while I was in the military, right? So I had a 9 to 5 at the military, and then I would do e-com like 6 to like 10 or 11 at night. When I got out, I thought, oh, I'll just keep doing e-com at night and do real estate during the day, which was a mistake looking back for sure. I was at an event a couple months ago, and Alex Hormozy was speaking, and he said, you know, there's a thing that entrepreneurs like deal with, and it's like a problem. It's like the women in the red dress, and it's like you get so hyper, you lose focus of what your main bread and butter is, and you just like, oh, this looks cool, I can make money over here, and now this ultimately
shiny penny.
Yeah, so that happened for sure. I got to Vegas, and I was like, I'm gonna flip houses, and I was like,
so that's how we met. Future Flipper.
So I ended up flipping a few houses. I flipped 5 houses, 2 condos, 3 houses, and I mean, it was cool.
At least you tried.
It was good money. I for sure made money. But ultimately what I started to see was my e-com was suffering a lot. Like I was pretty much stopped focusing on it, and like ultimately it kind of died. And that's why I'm kind of in like a point where I'm starting over, because that's what I was good at. So I ended up shutting down that. I have one flip that it's still on the market right now. We're trying to sell. Gonna lose money on it, but I just want to be done with that. I have rentals, but as far as active investing in real estate, I'm gonna be done with. My wife still does that. She's
TC, right?
she has a real estate TC business, and then she's also an active realtor and does a bunch of other stuff in real estate. So she's gonna be handling that. And I'm just going to really just focus on the e-com stuff and the 3PL stuff, because I really think if I can go back to when I got out, which was about a year and a month ago, and I had just focused on e-com, I don't know where I'd be.
It would be like the sky's the limit.
Yeah. So it's like, I think ultimately it was a learning lesson. It was a big learning year. Didn't hit some of the goals I set, but that's also because I think I was like scatterbrained. I had all this time and I thought I could do everything. Because, you know, when you're in the military, show up at 6 a.m. for PT, go back,
Jack
shower,
of all trades,
go straight to work, and then get off at 5, and then I do my stuff. So it's like when I got out, I had all the free time in the world.
You have to figure out how to set your schedule, because you were used to people telling us what to do. We didn't like it, but it's like you have your set regimen schedule. Yeah. What would you say a lot of the skills that you learned in the military, what were the most transferable to you being a business owner and leader now? Like, what were the biggest skill sets you learned?
I think reading people. I think I have a really good, which I think a lot of people think this, but I really think I do. And maybe I'm wrong, but I think I'm really good at like telling if somebody's going to be good on my team or not. And I was never like really in a leadership position because I never wanted to promote. I was not about the military. I could have probably hit sergeant in the time that I was in because I came in with the bachelor's and everything, but I just never really wanted to do that. But I think I learned a lot of what a shitty leader is. Yep. What a good leader is, and also just kind of being able to really just judge somebody's character and like see if they're going to be a good fit for like me.
Because you see all the Blue Falcons in the military, they guys just screw their own people over.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, especially like people who kiss ass, and it's just like, okay, like I feel like now I can. That's like the biggest thing I took away is like really just being able to read people. I think. Okay. Yeah.
I would say that's about the same for me. That and then the leadership, knowing what's a good leader, what's a bad leader, because there's so many bad leaders in the military. And
also just like knowing what kind of people you want to surround yourself with. Yep. Because like, and again, some people love the military, and I have nothing against them. Like, you know, I have friends who are still in right now that they love it. I'm like, cool, good for you. But being like taking a break, say we're at work, we're taking a break, and then we're talking or whatever. It's just like the conversations were just not it. Like it's just
endless, about nothing.
And I was like, I would try to talk about something, whether it was business or just like life or whatever, a book that I was reading. It was just like emptiness. And people, it's funny, most of the time people think you're blowing smoke. I remember we were getting those required financial workshops.
Oh, like AFRC, we're like
something like that.
We're leaving.
We had like these required financial workshops, and we had like a sergeant talking, and I was, and it was like kind of bullshit, like what they were teaching. And I, if you ever get to know me, is like I have zero filter, which is I think a bad thing and a good thing. It could have its pros and cons, but I'll just say what I think most of the time. Yeah. And I got in trouble because I was like, "You're teaching people how to be poor." What did you say? Yeah. So I said, and then they were like, "What are you doing?" Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, like they should do this and that, and like pretty much was giving my opinion, which my opinion might not be right, but I was just telling them what I thought. Yeah. Because I mean, they were just telling you pretty much like save 15% and just keep working a job forever and whatever. Yep. And all this stuff.
Retire at 50, whatever.
There's like the TSP.
Yeah.
And I remember just like, nah, everybody needs to set it to 0. and some people still don't agree with me, but I'm like, I don't agree with it. So it's like, and then like I have family members that I tell that I'm not investing in my retirement, which I am, but it's just not through traditional vehicles.
Yeah, it's a different way.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, I think with society, how it's conditioned, they use the retirement, they use the 9 to 5 to condition us to stay in this endless loophole. Because even I was the same way when I was in. But then I was like, I don't want to do this the rest of my life. Yeah. Working 14-hour shifts, still fucking... Even if I stayed in 20, I could have retired at 39, but still. Yeah. The guys that I know that retired at Master Sergeant, he's 78. Dude, they're barely making ends meet. Yeah. Even living in LA, I'm like, bro, like, there's got to be more.
Not worth it.
They end up getting another job. I'm like, fuck that. Yeah. When I'm done, I don't want to work.
Yeah,
anymore,
exactly.
You know?
So, but that's kind of the way I saw it. I was just like, dude, like, I'm not gonna work and put all my money into this and then only get like, X amount. Like, it's just not worth it. It's like I don't know. Sometimes people think you're crazy, and then they're like, you tell them, and then I tell them how much I was making while I was in, because I ended up getting in an argument with the guy giving the financial workshop. Oh, really? Because I was just like, you're literally teaching people how to be poor, like blah blah blah. He was just like, what do you know? Like, you're here just like me. And I was like, I don't want to be. And I pretty much, I said that. I was like, I don't want to be. I don't need this. Like, I get, and I hate playing that card. But in the military, it kind of like pushed me to the edge sometimes, where people would just like it would just irritate me. And I would be kind of an asshole. I'd just be like, all right, let's compare our checking accounts. Looking back, I definitely wish I didn't do that. And I think I've grown up a lot since then. We did it. And he was just like, and I remember at the time I had like 80K, like, and that was a lot for me.
How old were you?
I was 26.
Wow. A lot of people don't even
25.
A lot of people don't even see that kind of money in the military.
Yeah, I mean,
2 years in.
But it was, I hate saying it because it makes me look like an asshole, but I was just like, I was so irritated that he didn't believe me about what I was doing. Like, he was just like, you're full of shit, like, whatever. Yeah, pretty much got in an argument and like played the, if I can curse, I just like, who has a bigger dick? Yeah. Like, I was like, all right, let's see.
We're gonna be cussing along this podcast.
Yeah. So I was like, let's see who has a fucking bigger dick then. And I was like, and it was a gamble because what if we did? What if we hypothetically did have more money or whatever? Yeah. And it was just like, whatever. Like, let's just see what happens. And again, and looking back, like $80K now is, and I'm not saying it's not a lot of money. It's a lot of money, but it's like, if you think it's a lot of money, it's a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And if you don't, I think it's not now. And I like your goals change as
you reach different thresholds. And stuff.
Yeah. So it's like, looking back, though, that was the most money I ever had in my account at one point. And it's also kind of dumb. Like, why did I have that much in my account?
And that was all e-com?
All e-com money, because at that point, I was running my automation business before I exited.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know how we got to that, but yeah, played the big dick card with that guy. And that was kind of like the first time people were like, oh, wow, what is he doing? And so a lot of the guys that were in my unit started asking me questions, and I kind of started like teaching e-com for free just on the side. And it was just like, kind of went, some of my clients now are still in the military, and they just saw how I did it, how I got out, and kind of followed my story and everything. But I guess to backtrack back to joining, I left Sacramento. That's where I left for the military. I left Sacramento 2019, so it's only been 3 years.
Wow.
I left Sacramento 2019 with 40K in debt. I had 20K student loans and 20K car loan. And it's like, to see how much has changed in 3 years. And it's like insane to look back. Wow. Like, I just hit my 3-year anniversary from leaving Sacramento, October, so last month, and my 1-year anniversary for exiting the military. So I only did 2 years out of a 6-year contract. And I've been out of Sacramento for 3 years. And when I left Sacramento, I could have never told you this was going to happen.
Yeah, look, you have a new warehouse that you just purchased.
I never thought I was going to be in Vegas. I thought I'd be somewhere fucking maybe deployed. I don't know. But a lot can change in 3 years. And I think, people, if you look, sorry, I'm stumbling. If you really just put your head down and just grind for like a year, like a lot of shit can change.
For sure.
That's like a big thing that I think limits a lot of people, is like they think that you need all this time, and you do. I think patience is important, but I think if you can just like put your head down and just fucking work.
Focus on what's in front of you.
Because 3 years, bro, I could have never imagined where I'm at now. And I have tons of people way ahead of me, and I'm just getting started, I think, in my journey. But
how old are you now?
Turning 28 January, so I'm 27 right now.
Wow.
Yeah. And
that's amazing.
To leave 40K in debt and to where I'm at now, it's like insane.
That is amazing. That's an amazing story. Is like what I was gonna say is that, a lot of people, they don't want to get out because they feel like they're trapped. They have to stay in, and for some people, they don't plan ahead.
Yeah.
They don't plan on their contingencies. What am I going to do when I get out? Like we were talking about the guy that's in 20 years and now he gets out, he doesn't know what he's going to do with his life. A lot of those people, they don't end up, doing much. They just end up going back into the military. I'm like, I
met 4 of those guys.
I would never do that. I'm like, I'm in the reserve now, but I would never go back full-time active duty. No way, bro. No way.
Yeah. No, that's actually funny you mentioned that. Like, they don't have the plan, because like the guys that I was exiting with, while you're exiting the army, they give you a little quiz type thing, and it tells you, it asks you, how much money do you have because you're not going to get a job right away. You need to do this and that. Like, so some of these guys, it's insane. I'm like, dude, you've been in 20 years and you have like $5,000 and you're getting out and nothing else. And I asked them, do you have any houses you bought? Did you use your VA loan at all while you were in? No, I never wanted to buy because we move a lot in the military. I was like, yeah, that's a perfect excuse to buy.
That was my biggest regret, bro, was that I didn't buy at every single base I PCS from and use the VA.
I did that right away.
I didn't even know about that.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
But, dude, imagine being in for 20 years. You're getting out. You have $5,000 to your name. Nothing else. No job lined up. Like, nothing. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, no, that cannot be me. And it wasn't, because I was exiting with them. And I was like, I knew at that point I was making the right choice.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was just like, and as much as they can try to convince me that I was making the wrong choice, I knew I wasn't. I was like, I'd rather fail and be poor than be poor and continue to
be miserable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I was like, okay.
No, that's true, bro. That's very true. And that's why we have this channel, the Vets to CEOs, to teach you guys, specifically a lot of the guys in the military, how to leave the military and be confident to know what you're going to do. Because, bro, when I left, I didn't know what the hell am I going to do. I knew I was going to be, I had that entrepreneur spirit, but I was the same way. I was chasing that shiny object. I went into real estate. I did real estate as an agent the first year. Went into flipping. And then after that, I was like, fuck, I don't like doing this stuff. That's when I got deployed to Germany. Yeah. The Ukraine crisis. Then I got back into e-com. And, bro, I'm fucking loving life now with e-com. You have so much more freedom as your own boss. Of course, every business has their bullshit and their problems. Yeah. But like what you were saying with e-com, it's crazy what you can build through drop shipping, but also like through FBA and just what you can build online. It's really crazy. You can make different amounts of money. And I want to ask you this too. What do you like about e-com versus real estate? Because real estate, you can make a lot of money too, but why do you like e-com better than real estate? Because I left real estate too. I didn't like it.
I think ultimately it was just the type of business, right? I think with FBA, we're building like a long-term thing. With house flipping, which again, I know guys making millions in house flipping, but it's like if you flip a house and then you don't flip another one, now that's it. One deal is one deal.
You're chasing your next fix. It's like a real estate agent too.
Exactly. Like you're constantly looking for the next deal. And with FBA, it's similar, but once you have the relationships with these suppliers, they want to do business with you. They're going to reach out to you like, hey, you placing an order this month? I'm like, oh yeah, let's go.
That's true.
So ultimately, I think it's more of like, I think flipping is a great way to get capital, and like wholesaling is a great way to get capital. But once you have that capital, you have to put it into something.
Different vehicle.
And it's like a different vehicle. And I think with FBA, I think this is kind of becoming my money machine. I think people try to invest too early. Mm-hmm. Like, don't invest if you have like a few $100 to your name. Like, what the fuck's that gonna do for you? Like that's the whole TSP thing. Where like guys that were in the military putting like $50 a month into the stock market. I'm like, dude, that's not gonna do anything for you.
You gotta have capital. So it's like you either start a business or like that's it. Start a business or make some more money. Start a high side hustle, something. You need to have capital before you can actually invest, and that's kind of what I realized because I was using the VA loan. So I was getting free house, like a couple free houses. So that's investing, but it was free. That's the reason I did it. But it's like, I know guys that are trying to buy rentals that have no money. It's like, why are you trying to buy rentals with no money? You're digging yourself in a bigger
hole. It's like just focus on making money first before you invest. And that's kind of what's happening now is I think I was looking at wholesaling and flipping as like my money machine, but I just didn't like it. It sounds kind of lazy, but I just didn't like driving to all the different houses. Too, bro. And like, I was like, I can't drive everywhere. I didn't like it.
I hated the traffic.
I hated being stuck in traffic. I hated and then you're getting materials like from Home Depot.
Knocking.
And you can have a project manager that will do all that, but at the beginning, you got to do most of it. Most of the time, you got to kind of hat of all trades, is what they say, or
jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah, sure, whatever. And I was just like so annoyed. I was like having the contractor would call me like, "Hey, we need this." I'm like, "Damn it! Like I got to go to Home Depot right now. Like I don't want to go to Home Depot."
Yep.
So I go to Home Depot, put the shit in my truck, and then my back's hurting and shit. So it's like, okay, like I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately, it was just that, dude. I think it was I don't like being at the projects, and if you notice there. Here how OCD I am.
Oh, I'm the same way, bro.
Like I hated being at the flips.
Organized, yep.
The flips were just like shit's everywhere, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And like, the contractors are hammering shit, and there's like trash, and I'm like, I need to work. Like my workspace is always usually everything's perpendicular, like everything's in order. I mean, I'll go through like seasons of like being messy, but like as soon as something in my head just clicks, like I need to clean. Like even like right here, like my bags are all in order. Like I have to have like.
Did you do the 4 lenses in the Army? It's the personality test. I want to say you're big gold, orange. Gold's very organized, charts, everything in a certain way. Because I'm gold, orange too.
I don't know. I don't think I ever did that.
Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, even like if you look at the spreadsheets for the business, like I'm so analytical, and it's like for Future Flipper, did you take the
personality test? Yeah.
What were you?
I believe I was a Maverick, and then I was like 2 Maverick and something else.
Yeah, I was a captain.
Okay.
So what that apparently means was that I'm like, I think Maverick and Captain are in the same triangle. I think the other one's like Venture or something. But yeah, like super like high risk, but I'm just so analytical with shit. And it's like, and I'm good at like steering the boat in the right direction, but like I hate when shit's not in its right place. Yep. So I think that's good and bad. You know, sometimes if I get here in the morning and my desk is cluttered, I can't work. I have to clean it before I work. And I know guys that are millionaires that just have it everywhere, like geniuses, but I can't work like that. Like it stresses me out. So
it's like the way our brain works.
I don't know how I got to that, but
it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Because it shows like everyone has different personality traits, and doesn't mean just because you're cluttered you can't be successful versus if you're organized you can be successful too. That's really interesting. So when you got out the military, how did you really develop these business skills to find out how to buy a warehouse, how to learn drop shipping, how to build an automation team? How did you learn how to do all that?
I think that comes a lot with and it sounds, I feel like I hear every person say this and they can never actually do it, is you got to put yourself in the right circles.
Okay.
And it's like, whether it's freaking DMing people on Insta, like you can't YouTube how to build a 3PL company. No. Like it's like there's no courses, there's nothing on it. So I was like, how do I do it? I was like, all right, I'll figure it out. So I mean, first of all, you got to just jump in and sink or swim, and I think a lot of times that's what I did. But with this specifically, I already had relationships in the e-com space, so I was like, I leveraged those relationships. So one of my buddies, he's like 2 buildings away here. He has a prep company also. His name's Tony, and he kind of gave me the idea. He's like, yo, like, prep companies is like where the real money's going to be at because of everything going on, sell the shovels. So he kind of like, they kind of definitely, we shared information on what we were doing and we were able to leverage that relationship and then essentially kind of learn for free. Not that I was trying to milk him for the information, but it's just like when you have the right network and people want to help you, you want to help each other. Like they're borrowing my forklift right now because their warehouse is smaller. Okay. So I'm like, what can I offer them? So I was like, oh, like I'm going to get that warehouse down like a couple buildings away. You guys need to use the forklift. Don't get one so that you guys can use mine. And then now it's like we have that like
giving value. One hand washes the other, they say.
So it's like, I think we can benefit from each other. And like anybody who says competition or whatever, I think it's just like what do they always say? Like have like abundant mindset or whatever.
Say collaboration over competition. There's enough to go around.
There's enough to go around. So I'm just like, I think having them here has been a huge help because we help each other. Like I was like,
even though they're another company that's technically a competitor.
Exactly. So it's like we've been able to just leverage that and just leverage that relationship. But same time, like if it's not this you're trying to get into and trying to get into anything else, dude, and it's like just YouTube it.
Yeah.
Like,
YouTube Academy.
Yeah. Even freaking dropshipping, when I paid for that course, all that information was on YouTube. But at the same time, it's like I think courses are valuable because it's organized. It puts it kind of shrinks the time frame that you can learn it in. It tells you what exactly you need to learn, what you don't need to learn.
Because YouTube, you're like, what do I need to learn? Like,
exactly.
What's accurate, what's not. Even with the courses and the mentors, you have to vet them to make sure it's the right.
So I think YouTube University is great if you have like no money.
Yeah.
But I think you should buy a course in whatever industry you want to get into. And if there's no course, that's where you got to literally
put yourself in the circles.
Yeah.
I like that. So YouTube Academy, if you don't have money, if you do have money, put yourself in those circles, buy the courses, and just apply yourself. Sink or swim.
Facebook groups are huge.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I was we were doing Walmart drop shipping and I didn't know how to get a store approved. And there's companies charging $10,000 to get your store approved.
Wow.
And I was just like, all right, I'm going to just figure this out. I joined a Facebook group. I posted something and I was like, hey, like I'll run somebody's Facebook store for free if they help me how to get a Facebook or a Walmart store. Within 2 weeks, I had a Walmart store and like, it's good off of a Facebook group. And it's funny. It's a random ass guy, but he's now become kind of like I've never met him in person, but like those internet friends you have. So like he's like in LA. So he's actually here, like pretty close to me. But we've never met in person, but now we just constantly talk about
good business
e-commerce and shit like that. Cause he does FBA also. Mm-hmm. He was doing FBA before I started doing FBA.
Wow.
So, and he's doing a WFS, I think. It's like FBA for Walmart.
Okay.
So that's how that whole conversation started. But
is that still going on now with Walmart? I thought they kind of next.
There's no drop shipping, I think, going on in Walmart. We've exited Walmart completely, so I don't know. But I know people are still on Walmart. I think they're just not doing drop shipping. Okay. So, yeah.
So it's almost like FBA, but for Walmart.
Yeah. Okay. WFS, I think. Gotcha. Maybe those acronyms are wrong. But anyways, yeah. So, like, that was a relationship that I created off of a Facebook group. Mm-hmm. I've never met this guy.
And you gave value. It's not just, hey, can someone do this for me?
Yeah.
You said, I'll run the shop for free for you if you fix it. That's amazing.
And, like, the company, and because I was thinking about buying a Walmart store at the time. And I was like,
what, 20K or something?
It was like 20K. And I was like, I'm just going to do this alone. I'm going to figure it out. And literally off of joining a random Facebook group and messaging a guy, or not even messaging, I posted it. I posted a little, what is it, on the timeline for the group?
Oh, on the feed or the wall.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
He messaged me.
Wow.
So it's like, dude, like literally people want to help each other. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I essentially got a $20,000, $10 to $20,000 ticket item for free. And we just exchange some information. And if you don't have any information to exchange, there's always something you can like exchange.
For sure. You always have to have some sort of value you offer. Yeah. Skill set or something.
So it's like, it was just cool. It's like those internet friends it's weird like how much you can trust somebody just from knowing them on the internet. One of my business partners now, Steve, I actually met him through Christian. Like we were in his coaching class. Mm-hmm. We're business partners now. I've in real life probably met him a handful of times, but I worked with him and we made a ton of money together for about a year and a half before we ever met in person.
Wow. That's amazing, bro.
So it was like, and I remember the first time we met in person, I was like, why does this not feel weird? And it was just like, dude, like
it's already that connection.
Yeah.
Right there,
we've known each other. We're on Zoom calls for hours at a time. Like, so it's like, dude, the internet sounds so dumb. Like, the internet's just like so convenient, crazy. Like it doesn't make sense to me, like how you can connect with somebody so much.
Yep.
And never have met them in real life.
Relationships, for sure. And then I love that on the internet, you can really have your business operating from anywhere. Like, for example, if you didn't want an actual warehouse space, you could run your Amazon store anywhere in the world from a laptop, essentially.
Exactly.
Real estate, you can't really do that. You're stuck going to the properties. You're stuck, flipping. That's why
I know guys who do rentals remotely, but it's just not the same. Mm-hmm. I don't know. But even Ed, like me and Ed made freaking 6 figures in 1 month before we ever met.
Wow.
So it was like
that is amazing.
And it was like, and that's while I was still in the military. That was like the last 3 months of me being in the Army. We started selling Facebook automation back when it was working. Right now it's kind of iffy. But yeah, I remember because I was scared to sell it. I was just like, I know how to do it, Ed. Like I'm doing all the, like look at my stores, and Ed's like, dude, why don't we sell that?
That's what I love about Ed.
Yeah.
He's always like, how can we make money off this?
So me and Ed filed an entity together, and you know how he does AIDS Corps and all that. So we ended up filing all that. I forgot what we called it. But anyways, we ended up doing like 90, 100K in a month, literally while I was in the military.
Wow.
And I was like, what the shit? Like that's how much I make full time.
That is fucking crazy.
And I remember that, like, but you know, we were 50-50, and looking back, I love you, Ed. But but it's just like, I don't think I needed Ed to do that. I think Ed just pushed me over the edge to like really just
force you to really, be confident in your own skin.
Yeah, because I mean, most of our sales ended up coming from my Instagram, like literally just Instagram, posting Instagram. But I think if I hadn't done Ed's mentorship, I think I wouldn't have like felt comfortable enough to really sell that product, because I had a product. I was just too scared to sell it.
Yeah. And that's what I loved about, like, thank you for putting me on Ed's course too, like the creative financing. It's changed my mindset as far as, for one, like, I bought expensive courses, but I think this is the most expensive course I paid for.
Yeah.
But the valuable information I learned from it, it's like, wow, it builds the confidence in you to charge people higher for your time and for the products and the services that you offer. Before, bro, like, even when I was doing video production, I still love doing it, but the time to do it's not worth it. Just when I was like, charging someone 5 to 10K, I was like, fuck, that's a lot of money. Someone got to pay me that much?
Yeah.
And now it's like, that's not even a lot now compared to what you're doing and stuff.
Dude, I mean, what you just said, like, Ed's was so expensive. When I did it, he was a little cheaper because it was like years before he was at this level. But I paid him $2,500 for a month of one-on-one. So I didn't have it was like $2,500 for a month of one-on-one, and I thought that was so much money because I had not shitting you, I had $7,000 in my account. I remember because I had to like ask the wife for permission. I was like, hey, I'm gonna do this thing.
It's for us though.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna learn.
Like me gaining weight, it's for us.
Yeah, that was before the weight gain, but yeah. I know we're going back and forth. Like, I'm so bad at keeping the timeline. But yeah, dude, I remember I paid him $2,500, and I was like, fuck. I sent the PayPal, and I was just like, damn, hopefully this shit pays off, right?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what I wanted to learn. I was just like, he's a good guy to have in my network, and I honestly he seemed like a cool guy. I was like, and we ended up just becoming friends, which is like the cool part. But yeah, dude, it was like 2 or 3 weeks in, and I was just like, well, I'm making money in e-com. Like, I have credit limits. Like, what can you teach me? I was like, because it was like, I was mostly interested in the points and all that stuff.
Travel and
even though I don't
credit stacking.
Yeah, I wanted just the credit stacking and like really like the points. Not that I like traveling, but I've never been like somebody that wants to go here and there. I wanted just the points to be able to visit my hometown and stuff like that. Have the option. But about 2-3 weeks in, I was telling Ed about the e-com stuff that I was doing, and he's just like, dude, that's like a product. Like no, not a lot of people are doing. At that time, nobody was selling really Facebook automation. There was a couple people selling it. It was before it was big, and he just like said, let's put a little offer together and let's just sell it. And I was like, you sure? Like, what if I can't fulfill? He's like, we'll worry about that later. And I mean, it ended up going well. I think some clients did end up getting burned, and that was ultimately for something else. That was just like, we ended up partnering with a different company, and
they didn't fulfill
it. It was a whole thing, but yeah. But long story short, was me and Ed did that together, and we never met in person.
That's amazing.
Like, it was.
What about now? You guys met in person?
Now he's the one that got me into skydiving. So now like I'm a skydiver too, and like,
dope, bro.
I jumped.
The three of us gotta go. I haven't skydived yet. I see him skydiving all the time in that little cryo chamber thing.
Oh yeah. No, like out of an actual plane.
Yeah. You said you're gonna get a plane now too.
Well, yeah. I mean, so that was what I was telling you earlier. Is I joined the military initially because I wanted to be a pilot for the military. I had already had some flight hours back in 2017. I was spending all my bartending money paying for flights to just go train up on my pilot's license. And then I'm looking at getting a plane right now. Not like a fucking jet. Like, I'm not there yet.
Someday, bro.
Yeah, not there yet. Like just a little propeller plane, just so I can travel to my hometown is Porterville, California, which is conveniently enough right over the mountains. So like, it's in California, but if you look on the map, just straight east of Vegas,
literally right over the mountain,
in the valley.
That's not bad.
So it's actually not. It's only an hour and 30-minute flight versus a 6-hour drive.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, that's actually kind of convenient. So I want to get a plane so I can go visit my mom a little bit more often, and then go up to Sacramento. That's pretty much it. I don't really.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, but I'm looking at getting a plane right now.
That's cool.
Just and I'm just finished up my pilot's license. So that's
congratulations!
Cool.
It all comes full circle, bro. I mean,
yeah.
Really, when you really pursue what you want to do in life, it opens so many doors. Can you imagine if you stayed in the military? Where would you be today? What would you be doing? It's like, fuck.
Yeah, no, I was talking to my wife literally yesterday about this. I was like, because we just hit a year of being out, and I'm like, dude, a year, like I couldn't imagine what has all happened in 1 year.
In 1 year, we've grown so much.
And I'm like, holy shit, it's literally only been a year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it feels like I've been in Vegas for so long, but if I was still in, dude, and I'm not like suicidal or anything, but like I was so depressed. I hated going to work. Mm-hmm. Like I hated everybody that I worked with, like not like personally, but like I hated being in the space.
It's a toxic environment from what I've seen in the military.
Yeah.
Very toxic.
And it was like just a shitty unit, which is like, at least at like better units, you get guys that love it. Like at my unit, there was guys that just everybody was like,
and then they're shitbags to everyone else. They don't give a fuck about anything.
So I was borderline like super depressed, which I think depression is not even, I think it's ultimately like your decision to be depressed, which people might not agree with that. But I think I've been depressed and I didn't take medicine. I didn't do anything. I just worked on myself. So I think that's like a huge thing. And I think I was there though. I was for sure going through a season of depression because I wanted out. I hated waking up, bro. Like I would wake up and I would just be like, I hear the freaking alarm. Like, it's not that I didn't want to go work out. That was like probably the best part about being in the military is like just going and working out because I didn't have to talk to anybody. Like I just went and did my thing.
So you're going for zone.
Yeah. And especially during COVID because we didn't do group PT because it was like kind of do your own thing. You just had to check in pretty much. So it was nice. So it was like, okay, that's the only thing I like. But as soon as I get they would form up and all this, I hated it. I hated it. Bro. And I hated like, not that age really is that significant, but like there'd be guys that joined at 18 and I joined at 24 and I enlisted and they'd be like at E6 and they're like trying to play the freaking big. Or
you have that second lieutenant that's 19 years old trying to tell you what to do. I'm like, fuck this.
You don't know shit. Like, yeah. So I just, dude, I don't know how people like it, which again, I'm not shitting on them for liking it, but I just hated it with like passion. Like I would get such like a gut wrenching feeling every time I'd walk in to like the building. Like it was so bad. And I had a bad reputation. Like people definitely didn't like me in the military, but that's because I made it very clear that I didn't like them. Yeah. And it's like, maybe that was a bad thing. Maybe it was a good thing. I don't know. I don't have any regrets, but
I feel like the military is a good stepping stone for some people. Like for me, it was a good stepping stone because I left high school. I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do. Yeah. And it taught me, how to become a better leader, how to communicate, how to do team building. Yeah. And I never thought I'd be living outside of the U.S. I went to Italy, Turkey, Germany. So those opportunities were nice. But at the end of the day, I was like, I'm not going to do this the rest of my life. Yeah. So I'd say always pursue your passion. But to close things out, bro, if you could go back in time and tell your younger self one thing that would help change your life or maybe something you regret that you didn't do, what would it be and why?
If I could go back and tell myself, like, give me like a little
or change something that you didn't do,
I don't know if I regret joining the military. And it sounds weird, right? Because I hated it. But I think it ultimately got me out of Sacramento, which I was like in a very toxic place. I thought I loved it at the time because I was like working and I was like just spending all my money drinking and like it was just like a cycle. Yeah. So I thought I was having a good time, but I think ultimately I needed to get out of Sacramento. And I love Sacramento. I still have a ton of friends there, but I needed to leave. So I wouldn't say don't join the military. I think it wasn't a bad idea to join. I think I would have just said sign a shorter contract. And
maybe they have 1 year contracts. Yeah, like, let me just test it out.
Sign a shorter contract. Or, dude, I don't know. I don't know if I would change anything. Okay. Because I think everything, and it sounds cliche, but I think everything that happened led to where I am now. And if certain things didn't happen, I don't know what I'd be doing. Yep.
You had to experience those things in the military to make you realize that, I don't want to be in the military.
That's a good question, though. Like, what? Because it's like, if I told myself not to have done the military,
maybe that would have changed the trajectory.
I would have probably been stuck still bartending or whatever. Yeah. If I told myself to start, I don't know. Okay. I think one thing would be,
maybe something you do different, or
I don't know, man. I think the only thing I could think of is just like start exploring business. That's it. Gotcha. Because it's like I can't say not to join the military because if I hadn't done that, I don't think everything else would have happened. I don't think I would have ever realized that I hated being told what to do, what to wear, how to be, how to act. Yeah.
Because, no individuality.
Because I had never been treated that way. The only thing that they told me bartending was where to be. I could wear whatever I want. I pretty much act however I want. How you want, yeah. Like, because I mean, I was kind of like the military, dude. Sorry, I'm like ranting on this last question. I could do whatever I want as a bartender, like especially nightclub. Which, looking back, if my old manager's watching, I was such an asshole to customers. Like people would complain about me, dude. Like I was like, fuck you. I'm not serving you. Get the fuck out of my face. Like you didn't tip me. Get the fuck out of my face. So it's like I love having power. Yeah. And I think having that power now to make the decisions I want is like ultimately
the freedom and the individuality to make your own decisions. I've found also what I've learned that the military taught me is when your leadership or people tell you can't do something or you have to request for something. Like, fuck that. It pushes you on the entrepreneur side, at least in
Yeah.
business. When someone tells me I can't achieve something or do something, it pushes me even 10 times harder to prove them wrong. I don't know if that's bad, but it's like, fuck that. For me, I found a lot of success using that as my motivation.
Yeah.
I feel like you have the same
That's a big
thing,
one,
too.
dude. Like having to ask for like
To go on
PTO,
leave. Yeah, I'm like, what the
fuck
hell?
off, I'm going.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
And so many times we've gotten screwed over in the military. I remember like I went and I was on leave, and I remember they recalled me for some bullshit. Not even anything with me. It was just some exercise or something, and I had to come back. I was like, "Are you fucking serious?" Got there, and I didn't even have to work, but they wanted us to come back. I was like, "Are you fucking serious?"
Yeah.
And I've had friends who had worse situations where they got recalled on leave.
Yeah.
But
Dude,
it's just
I
crazy.
took some gambles when I took leave. Like, you know how you have a certain radius?
Mm-hmm.
I used to take leave and like just leave. Like it's
That's why they call it leave, right? Just
well,
leave.
like leave.
Just leave.
Like I would fly to Sacramento.
Oh, fuck.
And I'm supposed to be within 20 miles.
Yeah.
And one time I was flying back and my flight, and I was supposed to be at work the next day, and I got stuck in Phoenix. And I was like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And I was like, I'm about to get fucking, yeah. So ended up just freaking got on the last flight. So I got lucky. But it's like taking leave I hated the feeling of like knowing somebody had a fucking collar on me, like reeling me in, like right. It's like, I hated it.
Yep. Routing it up the chain, it gets stuck on someone's desk for hours, days.
Dude.
Like, man.
Couldn't do it.
Nope.
Yeah.
These were good learning experiences.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but bro, thank you so much for being on
man.
our podcast, and for anyone else that has found value in this podcast. If you have any questions, definitely shoot it down below. If you want to give Luis a follow too, what's your IG handle, bro?
@_Luis Barraza.
There you go, you guys. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, if you are in the military on the fence, you're thinking about leaving, definitely reach out. You just separated recently. I just separated a year ago as well, a year and a half now. It's definitely not easy. The first year I got out, maybe in our next podcast we talk about this, was like the anxiety attacks and like fuck. I'm like, you're really trying to figure everything out. Yeah. It's not easy. So definitely put yourself in those circles, like Luis said. Put yourself in those positions that are going to set you up for success, and really pursue what you guys want to do in life and become your own boss. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Like and subscribe to this video for the YouTube algorithm. Take care. Peace.